I want to start with the biggest question first. Why history? Why is it that the study of history has made it into the required courses of pretty much every school in the country, and possibly every established formal school in the world? What draws people to history and gives us the idea that this is something that we should pay attention to? And I think that there are a number of answers to this question, but I want to focus on two. On history grounding us and on history bracing us. Let me explain what that means. So history grounds us. What interests people more than anything else, I think, are stories. Stories capture people's attention because, well, we want to find out how they end, because we come to empathize with and care about the characters of a well-written story, because we want to learn something from their experiences, and because, if it's a good story, we see just a little bit of ourselves in that story as well. History is really a reminder that we are all part of one great and living story that has been told since the beginning of time. We are all living our own stories. We're all characters in other people's stories, and we are distant past chapters in the stories of the future. History is the idea that you can't really appreciate the story you're in when you start in the middle. History grounds us in the narrative that has been playing out this whole time. If we want to understand what we're doing in our chapters of this story, we need to read the pages that came before our own time. History braces us as well. History braces us because what we see now, we have seen before. Each day is unique, but each day is also at least a bit like other days. Every historical cycle has its own feature, but there's a pattern in the story, and we can see that people have looked at the overwhelming circumstances before, dealt with them before, and that we're still here as a result of that. History is essential to freedom and individuality. History interacts with freedom because it is the study of human systems. It teaches the rules of how things tend to go together or not go together, of how things interact, of how people, ideas, and institutions bounce off each other in ways that we can only start to understand and predict by studying how it has happened before. Nobody came up with the formula to calculate the effects of gravity without first having watched things fall down a lot. Likewise, we can't understand the rules that govern our political freedoms and actions without watching when, how, and why people and civilizations also fall down a lot. We don't really have the freedom to navigate our own space until we understand the rules with which we're moving through that space. And history helps us learn these rules, learn these patterns of human interaction, so that when we're making choices, we really understand the consequences of those choices. And only in that way are we actually exercising our freedom